The large classroom at Galactic Academy was filled with students from across the known galaxy. Blue-skinned Zelkrans sat next to tall, gray Catherians. Small green Vixians shared desks with the rock-like granite people. Everyone looked different, but they all had one thing in common today. They were all scared. Professor Kale stood at the front of the room. His 4 purple eyes looked at each student as he prepared to start the lesson. He was a Breathan, one of the smartest species in the galaxy. His long arms moved gracefully as he touched the control panel. Students, today we will study one of the most dangerous creatures ever discovered, Professor Kale said. His voice was calm, but serious. This beast has killed more explorers than any other predator we know. A hologram appeared in the center of the room. The creature was huge and dark. Its body was covered in black scales that seemed to drink in the light. 6 bright green eyes glowed on its head. Sharp white teeth filled its mouth, each one as long as a finger. Its claws looked like they could cut through metal. The alien students gasped and moved back in their seats. Some covered their eyes. Others made scared noises in their own languages. This is the shadow maw of Kepler 442b, Professor Kale continued. It is 3 times larger than most of you. Its bite can crush bones. Its claws can slice through armor. But worst of all, it hunts in complete silence. The hologram started to move. The creature crept through a dark forest. Its movements were smooth like water. It made no sound at all. Even its breathing was silent. The students watched in horror as it stalked something they could not see. The shadow maw has never failed to catch its prey, Professor Kale explained. Not once in all our observations. Its success rate is perfect. When this creature decides to hunt you, you are already dead. A Catherian student named Vorth raised his thin arm. His voice shook as he spoke. Professor, how do we protect ourselves from such a monster? You do not, Professor Kale answered simply. If you ever encounter a shadow maw, your only hope is that it is not hungry. Even our best weapons barely scratch its scales. The hologram changed to show the creature's size compared to different species. Next to a Zelkran, the shadow maw looked like a giant. Next to a Vixian, it looked like a mountain. In the back corner of the room, one student sat quietly. He was different from all the others. His skin was a light brown color. His hair was black and straight. He had only 2 eyes, and they were dark brown. This was Do-hyun Kim, the only human in the class. While his classmates trembled with fear, Do-hyun looked calm. He watched the hologram with interest, not terror. Sometimes he even smiled a little. The shadow maw weighs exactly 45 kilograms, Professor Kale said. It is 1.2 meters long from nose to tail. These measurements come from the only dead specimen we have ever found. Do-hyun raised his hand slowly. Professor, may I ask a question? Of course, student Kim. The creature in your hologram, Do-hyun said. It is about the size of a large dog, correct? Professor Kale's 4 eyes blinked in confusion. A dog? I am not familiar with this term. Oh, sorry. Dogs are animals from my home planet. We keep them as pets. The classroom became very quiet. Every student turned to look at Do-hyun. Professor Kyle stared at him with all 4 eyes. Student Kim, did you say pets? Professor Kyle asked carefully. Yes, sir. This creature reminds me of something we have on Earth. We call them cats. Well, not exactly the same, but similar size and behavior. Do-hyun paused and thought for a moment. Actually, that thing looks just like Mango. Mango? A Vixian student squeaked. My family's cat. She used to sleep under my bed when I was little. Sometimes she would bring me dead mice as presents. Do-hyun smiled at the memory. She was very sweet, but she was also a perfect hunter. Never missed her target. The hologram still showed the terrible shadow maw with its glowing eyes and deadly claws. But now Do-hyun was talking about it like it was a friendly pet. Student Kim, Professor Kyle said slowly, "Are you telling us that creatures similar to the shadow maw live in your home? Not just similar. Actually, house cats are probably better hunters than this thing. They are smaller, faster, and much quieter. Plus, they can climb walls and jump really high. Oh, and they have excellent night vision." A granite student made a grinding sound that meant extreme fear in his language. "Better hunters?" he asked. "Oh yes, much better. House cats kill billions of small animals every year on Earth. They do it just for fun, not even for food. We feed them special cat food, but they still hunt because they enjoy it." Professor Kale's purple skin turned a lighter shade. This usually meant he was feeling sick. "You allow these predators to live with you?" "They choose to live with us," Do-hyun corrected. "We did not really tame cats. They decided we were useful to them. We give them food, warm places to sleep, and medical care. In return, they kill rats and mice that eat our food." The room was so quiet now that everyone could hear the air recycling system humming. "But Student Kim," Professor Kale said weakly, "how do you sleep safely with such creatures in your home?" Do-hyun looked confused by the question. "Sleep safely? Professor, cats are excellent guardians. They protect our homes from pests. Many humans feel safer with cats around, not less safe." He thought about his answer some more. "Actually, lots of human children sleep better when their cat is nearby. The purring sound cats make is very relaxing. It helps people fall asleep." A Zelkran student named Blix made a whistling sound of disbelief. "The predator makes sounds to help you sleep?" "Well, yes. When cats are happy and comfortable, they purr. It is like a rumbling sound in their chest. Human babies often sleep better when a cat is purring nearby." Professor Kale sat down heavily in his chair. His forearms hung limply at his sides. "Student Kim, I need to understand this clearly. You are saying that creatures similar to the most feared predator in the galaxy live peacefully with humans?" "Not just cats," Do-hyun said helpfully. "We also keep dogs, which are descended from wolves. Wolves are pack hunters that used to compete with humans for food. Now dogs help us hunt, guard our homes, and play with our children. Several students made fainting sounds, and we keep birds that used to be wild predators, and reptiles, and fish, and horses, which are big enough to kill a person by stepping on them, and cows, which weigh as much as a small vehicle." Do-hyun was counting on his fingers as he spoke. "Oh, and some people keep snakes as pets, even venomous ones." Professor Kale put his head in his hands. "Class is dismissed," he said weakly. "I need to contact the Earth Embassy immediately." As the other students rushed out of the room in panic, Do-hyun packed his books slowly. He was confused about why everyone seemed so upset. On Earth, living with animals was completely normal. How did other species survive without animal companions? He walked toward the door, thinking about calling his little sister later. She would laugh when he told her that aliens were scared of cats. She always said her kitten was the cutest thing in the universe. Maybe he should not mention the kitten's name was Killer. Professor Kyle could not sleep that night. Every time he closed his 4 eyes, he saw the image of the deadly shadow maw. But worse than that, he kept hearing Do-hyun Kim's calm voice saying it was just like a pet cat. The professor walked to his office in the middle of the night. The hallways of Galactic Academy were empty and quiet. His footsteps echoed as he hurried to his computer terminal. He opened the Earth database files. The Galactic Council had received these files when humans first joined the Academy. Professor Kale had never bothered to look at them closely before. Earth seemed like such a peaceful little planet. He was very wrong. The first file he opened was labeled Common Household Pets. Professor Kyle expected to see small, harmless creatures. Instead, his screen filled with images that made him feel sick. Dogs. The file said they came from wolves. Professor Kyle knew about wolves. They had attacked early space colonies on 3 different worlds. Entire settlements had been abandoned because of wolf packs, but humans had somehow turned these killers into friends. The pictures showed human children playing with enormous dogs. Some dogs were larger than the children, though dogs had huge teeth and powerful jaws, but the children were laughing and hugging them. Professor Kale read the notes. Dogs were loyal guardians. They protected human families. They played with human babies. Some dogs were trained to help blind humans walk safely. Impossible, Professor, Kale whispered to himself. He opened another file. This one was labeled cats. The images made him jump back from his desk. House cats looked exactly like tiny shadow moths. They had the same sharp teeth, the same deadly claws, the same hunting eyes. But humans kept them inside their homes on purpose. The notes said cats killed small animals for fun. They brought dead creatures to their human families as gifts. They could jump 6 times their own height. They could see perfectly in complete darkness. Professor Kale read that humans had over 600 million pet cats on their planet. 600 million tiny predators living in human homes. He opened more files. Each one was worse than the last. Horses were massive creatures that could crush a human with one kick. But humans rode on their backs for fun. Birds of prey had sharp beaks and talons that could tear flesh. But humans kept them as pets and trained them to hunt together. Snakes. Some were venomous enough to kill a human in minutes. But some humans kept them in glass boxes in their bedrooms. Professor Kale's hands were shaking as he reached for his communication device. He sent emergency messages to Dr. Nara Vex, the Academy's top animal expert, and Commander Hannah Gesh from the Galactic Defense Force. Both of them arrived at his office within an hour. Dr. Vex was a tall, thin Catherian with silver skin. Commander. Gesh was a strong Breathan like Professor Kale, but she was trained for war. "What is the emergency?" Commander Gesh asked as she entered the office. Professor Kale pointed at his computer screen. It showed a picture of a human child sleeping in a bed with a large dog beside her. "That child is sleeping next to a predator descended from wolves," Professor Kale said. Dr. Vex moved closer to look at the screen. Her silver skin turned pale. "This cannot be real. No species would allow their young near such danger." I thought. So too. But I have been reading Earth files all night. It gets much worse. Professor Kale opened another file. This one was labeled Wildlife of Earth. The screen filled with creatures that looked like they came from nightmares. Great white sharks with rows of razor teeth, brown bears that weighed 300 kilograms, poisonous spiders, venomous snakes, lions with powerful jaws and deadly claws. According to this data, Professor Kale said, Earth has over 47 different species that our computers classify as Class A apex predators. Commander Gesh sat down heavily. "That is impossible. No planet can support so many top predators. They would kill each other off. Unless they are all afraid of something even more dangerous," Dr. Vex said quietly. The 3 of them stared at each other in silence. Professor Kale opened his communication device again. "I am calling Student Kim to my office. We need answers. 30. Minutes later, Do-Yun Kim knocked on the office door. He looked sleepy but alert. He was wearing simple human clothes and carrying a bag of books. "Good morning, Professor Kyle. You wanted to see me?" "Student Kim, please sit down. I have some questions about your home planet." Do-Hyun sat in the chair across from the professor's desk. He noticed Dr. Vex and Commander Gesh standing nearby. They both looked very serious. "Is something wrong?" Do-Hyun asked. Professor Kale turned his computer screen so Do-Hyun could see it. The screen showed pictures of Earth's most dangerous animals. Student Kim, our computer systems have analyzed your planet's wildlife database. We have found a serious problem. What kind of problem? According to our analysis, Earth has 47 different species of Class A apex predators. That should be impossible. No world can support that many dangerous creatures. Do-Yun looked at the screen and laughed. Oh, that list is not complete. We only sent information about the animals we thought were interesting. There are many more. Dangerous species we did not include. Dr. Vex made a choking sound. More? Sure. We did not want to overwhelm your database. Plus, some of our dangerous animals are really small. We did not think you would be interested in things like bullet ants or blue-ringed octopus. Commander Gesh stepped forward. Student Kim, how do humans survive on such a dangerous world? Do-Hyun thought about this question. Well, we are pretty good at not getting killed. Most of these animals do not want to hurt humans anyway. They only attack if we threaten them or if they are very hungry. But surely your people must live in protected cities, Dr. Vex said. Some do, but lots of humans live in the wilderness with these animals. We call them farmers, rangers, and researchers. They work outside every day. Professor Kyle pulled up another file. This one showed human children playing in a forest. These young humans are surrounded by predators, he said. Do-Yun looked at the picture. Oh, that looks like a summer camp. Kids love going to camps in the forest. They learn about nature and have fun outdoors. Learn about nature? Commander Gesh asked. You mean learn how to hide from predators? No, we learn how to coexist with them. We teach children which animals are dangerous and which are safe. We teach them how to behave around wild animals. Most animals leave humans alone if we respect their space. Dr. Vex was taking notes as fast as she could write. You educate your young to coexist with apex predators? Of course. How else would they survive to become adults? Professor Kale opened another file. This one showed humans swimming in an ocean. Student Kim, your oceans contain great white sharks, jellyfish, and other deadly creatures. Why do humans enter the water? Because swimming is fun, Do-Hyun said simply. Shark attacks are very rare. You are more likely to be struck by lightning than killed by a shark. But the possibility exists, Commander Gesh pointed out. Sure, but lots of things are dangerous. Driving cars is dangerous. Flying in airplanes is dangerous. Crossing the street is dangerous. Humans accept small risks to do things we enjoy. The three Academy officials looked at each other. They were beginning to understand something that scared them very much. Humans were not afraid of their dangerous world. They enjoyed it. Student Kim, Professor Kale said carefully, what would you say is the most dangerous creature on your planet? Do-Hyun smiled. That is easy. Humans are the most dangerous creature on Earth. We are the only species that all the other predators are afraid of. The room became very quiet. We need to contact Earth Embassy immediately, Commander Gesh said. 3 days after the investigation, Do-Hyun Kim found himself standing in the most important room in the galaxy. The Galactic Council chamber was enormous. It could hold representatives from all 200 member species at the same time. Today, it was completely full. Do-Hyun stood on a small platform in the center of the chamber. Around him, hundreds of alien beings stared down from curved seating areas that rose up like a mountain. Some had multiple eyes, others had tentacles or wings or shells, but they all looked scared. Next to Do-Hyun stood Ambassador Minho Park, Earth's representative to the Galactic Council. Ambassador Park was a calm man in his 50s who had spent years learning alien languages and customs. He wore a simple black suit and looked completely relaxed. On Do-Hyun's other side stood Dr. Yuna Lee, Earth's top expert on alien biology. She was a young woman with short black hair and intelligent eyes. She carried a small computer tablet with information about Earth's animals. High Counselor Thex spoke first. He was a crystalline, which meant his body was made of living crystal that changed colors with his emotions. Right now, he was flashing red and orange, which meant fear and confusion. Human. Delegation, High Counselor Thex said, his voice echoing through the chamber. We have called this emergency session because of disturbing information about your homeworld. His crystal body flashed brighter red. Our initial surveys classified Earth as a Class M habitable planet, safe for most forms of life. However, new analysis suggests Earth should be classified as a Class 3 death world. Murmurs and worried sounds came from the crowd of aliens. A Class 3 death world was the most dangerous classification possible. Only 3 such worlds had ever been discovered, and no intelligent life had ever evolved on any of them. Ambassador Park stepped forward calmly. With respect, High Counselor, Earth has supported human civilization for thousands of years. Perhaps the classification system needs to be reconsidered. Reconsidered? Squeaked Counselor Brix, whose gaseous body was swirling with agitation. Your student told Professor Kale that apex predators sleep under human beds. Our top biologists are having mental breakdowns trying to understand your animal reports. A wave of fearful, chittering, clicking, and whistling sounds came from the alien audience. Dr. Lee stepped forward and activated her tablet. A hologram appeared above Do-Yun's head. It showed a small human girl, maybe 5 years old, playing in a backyard with a large furry animal. This is Do-Yun's sister, Somin, Dr. Lee explained. She is playing with their family dog, a German shepherd named Max. The hologram showed little Somin throwing a ball. The huge dog ran after it, caught it in his mouth, and brought it back to her. The girl hugged the dog and laughed as he licked her face. That canine, Dr. Lee continued, weighs 40 kilograms and has a bite force of 238 pounds per square inch. It is descended from wolves that once hunted in packs across Earth's continents. The alien audience fell completely silent. The only sound was the humming of the chamber's air recycling system. You turned wolves into companions for your children, whispered Counselor Zara, a bird-like being whose feathers were standing straight up with shock. We didn't turn them into anything, Ambassador Park replied. Over thousands of years, humans and wolves learned to work together. The wolves that were friendly to humans survived better than those that fought us. Eventually, they became dogs. High Counselor Thex's crystal body was now flashing purple, which meant complete confusion. You domesticated pack hunters? The same pack hunters that destroyed our colonies on Kepler 186F? Among other species, yes, Dr. Lee said. She activated another hologram. This one showed humans working with horses, riding on their backs and using them to pull heavy loads. Horses, she explained, weigh up to 1,000 kilograms. They can kick with enough force to kill a human instantly. We domesticated them 6,000 years ago. We use them for transportation, farming, and sport. Another hologram appeared. This one showed a human farmer surrounded by cattle. Cattle weigh up to 200 kilograms each. Bulls are extremely territorial and will attack anything they see as a threat. We domesticated them for milk, meat, and leather. Counselor Vort, a tentacled being from the deep oceans of Proxima 7, spoke in a bubbling voice. How is this possible? How do you convince such dangerous creatures to serve you? Do-Hyun smiled and stepped forward. We don't make them serve us, Counselor. We make partnerships with them. We give them food, shelter, and medical care. They give us companionship, protection, and help with work. But how do you avoid being killed by them? Asked Counselor Nex, whose rocky body was trembling. We understand them, Do-Hyun said simply. We learn what they need and what makes them happy. When animals are well-fed and comfortable, they rarely attack unless they feel threatened. Dr. Lee showed another hologram. This one was a surprise that made several aliens faint. It showed a human child sleeping peacefully in a bed while a large orange cat slept on top of her chest. This is how human children often sleep, Dr. Lee said, with their animal companions nearby. The animals provide warmth, comfort, and protection. Hi. Counselor Thex sat down heavily. His crystal body had turned gray, which meant he was feeling overwhelmed. Dr. Lee, he said weakly, our analysis shows that Earth contains venomous creatures, large predators, and disease-carrying insects. How do humans survive childhood on such a world? We teach our children about nature from a very young age, Dr. Lee replied. Human children learn to identify dangerous plants and animals. They learn which creatures to avoid and which are safe to approach. She showed a hologram of a human classroom where children were looking at pictures of different animals. This is a normal lesson for 6-year-old human children. They learn that bears are dangerous, but usually avoid humans. They learn that most spiders are harmless, but a few species are venomous. They learn that snakes should be left alone but will not chase you if you walk away slowly. You educate children about predators instead of protecting them from predators, asked Counselor Jex, whose insect-like body was clicking with distress. Both, Ambassador Park said. We protect our children by educating them. Knowledge is the best protection. Counselor Brix's gaseous form was swirling faster now. But surely humans must live in fear of these creatures? Do-hyun laughed, which made several aliens jump in surprise. We don't live in fear of them. We live with them. Many humans feel safer when animals are around. He gestured to the hologram showing his sister and her dog. Max protects Soman from strangers. He warns the family if anyone approaches the house at night. Dogs have better hearing and smell than humans, so they make excellent guards. Dr. Lee nodded. Humans often feel more secure with animal companions, not less secure. We have evolved, together for so long, that we understand each other very well. High Counselor Thex was now completely gray. I need to understand this clearly. You are telling us that humans voluntarily live with creatures that could kill them? Every day, Do-Yun confirmed cheerfully, and most of the time we enjoy it. The chamber erupted in sounds of shock, fear, and disbelief from 200 different species. Ambassador Park waited for the noise to die down. Then he said calmly, Honorable counselors, I think there has been a fundamental misunderstanding. You seem to believe that Earth is dangerous to humans. The truth is exactly the opposite. He paused and looked around the chamber. Earth is dangerous to everyone except humans. We are the species that everything else is afraid of. 2 months after the shocking Galactic Council meeting, a special assessment team arrived at Earth. The team was led by Commander Hana Gesh and included Dr. Nara Vex, the galaxy's top expert on dangerous life forms. They brought with them the most advanced scanning equipment the galaxy had ever built. The team was nervous. They had spent weeks reading every file about Earth they could find. Each report made the planet sound more impossible than the last. Their guide was Dr. Yuna Lee, who met them at the spaceport in Seoul. With her was a human named Jihuno, a wildlife expert who worked in something called Yellowstone National Park. Welcome to Earth, Dr. Lee said with a warm smile. I hope you have a pleasant visit. Commander Gesh looked around nervously. Her scanning equipment was already beeping with warnings. Dr. Lee, my sensors are detecting biological threats within 500 meters of this location. Oh, those are probably just pigeons and sparrows, Jihoon said casually. Small birds that live in cities. They're completely harmless. Dr. Vex checked her scanner. My equipment classifies them as aerial predators with sharp beaks and talons. Well, technically they are predators, Jihoon admitted. They hunt insects and worms, but they're much too small to threaten humans. Children often feed them breadcrumbs. The assessment team exchanged worried looks. On their homeworlds, aerial predators were avoided at all costs. Their first stop was a place Jihoon called a typical human neighborhood. To the alien visitors, it looked like a war zone waiting to happen. Dogs barked from behind fences. Cats watched them from windows. Birds flew overhead. Jihoon's scanning equipment was going crazy with warnings about potential threats. This is where I live, Jihoon said, pointing to a simple house with a small yard. My wife Sunmi and my daughter Yunbi are inside. As if summoned by his words, the front door opened. A small human girl came running out, followed by a woman who looked like an older version of the child. "Daddy!" the little girl yelled. She ran straight toward Jihoon without looking around for threats. Commander Gesh nearly activated her weapons. "The young human is exposed and vulnerable," she said urgently. "Yunbi is fine," Jihoon laughed. "Watch." As the little girl ran across the yard, a large orange cat appeared from under a bush. Instead of attacking, the cat rubbed against Yunbi's legs and made a rumbling sound. "That's Butter," Jihoon explained. "Yunbi's cat. He follows her everywhere to make sure she's safe." Dr. Vex stared in amazement. The predator is protecting the child? Of course. Butter loves Yunbi. He would fight anything that tried to hurt her. Yunbi reached her father and hugged his legs. Then she noticed the alien visitors. Instead of being afraid, she waved at them. "Hello," she said in a cheerful voice. "Are you Daddy's friends from space?" Commander Gesh had never seen such a small, defenseless creature act so fearlessly. On her home world, young ones stayed hidden until they were old enough to defend themselves. "Yunbi," Jihoon said, "these visitors want to learn about Earth animals. Can you show them your pet collection?" "Yes," Yunbi clapped her hands together. "Come see." She led them to the backyard, where Jihoon's wife, Sunmi, was working in a garden. The alien visitors' scanners immediately started screaming warnings. "Biological hazard detected," Dr. Vex's scanner announced loudly. "Multiple venomous species in the immediate area." Sunmi looked up from her plants and smiled. "Oh, you must be the scientist from the Galactic Academy. Jihoon told me you were coming." "Ma'am," Commander Gesh said urgently, "our equipment detects dangerous creatures nearby. You should move to safety immediately." Sunmi laughed. "You mean the garden spider? She's been living in that corner for months. She keeps the mosquitoes away." She pointed to a web where a large spider sat waiting for prey. The spider was beautiful, but clearly designed for killing. That arachnid's bite could kill most species in the galaxy. Dr. Vex whispered. "Not humans," Yunbi said proudly. "Daddy taught me that garden spiders are good spiders. They eat the bugs that bite us. I named her Charlotte, like in the story." The little girl walked within inches of the spider's web. The spider completely ignored her. "How is she not afraid?" "Commander," Gesh asked. "Because Charlotte has never hurt anyone," Jihoon explained. "Yunbi has been watching this spider for months. She knows its behavior patterns. The spider knows Yunbi isn't prey, so it pays no attention to her." Dr. Vex was frantically taking notes. "The child has learned to coexist with a venomous predator?" "She's learned to understand it," Sunmi corrected. "Understanding removes fear." Yunbi led them to a small wooden house in the corner of the yard. "This is where my rabbits live," she announced. Inside the rabbit house were 3 fluffy animals, with long ears and powerful hind legs. "Rabbits?" Dr. Vex checked her scanner. "These creatures have extremely strong leg muscles. They could kick with enough force to break bones. Rabbits are prey animals," Jihoon explained. "They only kick when they're scared or cornered. Yunbi handles them gently, so they trust her." Yunbi reached into the rabbit house and pulled out a brown rabbit. The animal relaxed in her arms and made soft sounds. "This is Coco," she said, stroking the rabbit's fur. "She likes to be petted behind her ears." Commander Gesh watched in disbelief as the small human child cuddled a creature that could seriously injure her. "On my world," Commander Gesh said quietly, "young ones are kept in protective chambers until they develop natural defenses. How do human children survive to adulthood?" "By learning," Jihoon said simply. "We teach them about the world around them. We show them which creatures are dangerous and which are safe. Most importantly, we teach them how to behave around wild animals." Their next stop was even more shocking. Jihoon took them to a local park where human children were playing. The park was full of trees, grass, and flowers. It looked peaceful to human eyes, but the alien scanners detected dozens of potential threats. Bees, wasps, ants, beetles, spiders, birds, squirrels, and various plants with defensive toxins, Dr. Vex read from her scanner. This environment would be classified as extremely hazardous on any civilized world. It's just a normal park, Jihoon said. Human children play here every day. They watched as kids ran around, climbed trees, and played games. Some children were having a picnic on the grass. Others were feeding ducks at a small pond. Those waterfowl have powerful bills and aggressive territorial behavior, Commander Gesh observed. Ducks are pretty harmless, Jihoon replied. Sometimes they get excited about food and might nip at fingers, but they can't really hurt anyone. A young boy walked up to them. He was maybe 8 years old and carrying something in his hands. "Look what I found," he said excitedly. In his cupped hands was a large beetle with shiny black armor and prominent mandibles. Dr. Vex nearly fainted. "That insect could bite through metal," she gasped. "It's just a rhinoceros beetle," the boy said. "They look scary, but they only eat tree sap and fruit. Want to hold it?" He offered the beetle to Commander Gesh, who backed away quickly. "No, thank you," she said weakly. The boy shrugged and gently placed the beetle on a tree trunk. The insect crawled away peacefully. That evening, Jihoon took the assessment team to a restaurant in the city. They ordered typical human food, which created yet another crisis. "These ingredients register as toxic," Dr. Vex said, staring at her scanner. "Which ones?" Jihoon asked curiously. "The capsaicin, caffeine, alcohol, and something called garlic? Also, several compounds I cannot identify." "Oh, those are just spices and seasonings," Jihoon explained. "Humans enjoy foods with strong flavors. Spicy food makes us feel good." "You voluntarily consume toxins for pleasure?" Commander Gesh asked in horror. "Well, they're not really toxic. To us. Our bodies have adapted to process many compounds that might be harmful to other species. Coffee, chocolate, alcohol, onions, garlic. These are all normal parts of human diet." Dr. Vex watched in fascination as Jihoon ate something called kimchi, which made his eyes water from the spice level. "Your species has adapted to consume mild poisons as nutrients," she said, making notes. "I guess you could put it that way," Jihoon agreed. "We've been eating these foods for thousands of years. Our digestive systems can handle them just fine." Commander Gesh put down her scanner and looked directly at Jihoon. "I need to ask you something honestly. Are humans afraid of anything?" Jihoon thought about this question seriously. "Sure, we're afraid of lots of things. Natural disasters, diseases, accidents, things that could really hurt us. But we've learned that most animals aren't actually dangerous if you understand them and respect them. But your world is full of creatures that could kill you," Dr. Vex pointed out. "It's also full of creatures that help us, feed us, and keep us company," Jihoon replied. "The dangerous ones are usually only dangerous if we threaten them first. Most animals just want to be left alone to live their lives." He smiled at the confused alien visitors. "I think the real difference is that humans don't see other species as enemies. We see them as neighbors. Some neighbors are friendly, some are cranky, and some are best admired from a distance. But they all belong here, just like we do." The final stop for the alien assessment team was Seoul National University, where Earth's top scientists studied life and evolution. Commander Hana Gesh and Dr. Nara Vex had seen enough of Earth to know that everything they thought they knew about life in the galaxy was wrong. Dr. Kyung Min met them at the university entrance. He was a tall man with gray hair who had spent his entire life studying how species evolved and survived. With him was Dr. Haeun Choi, a younger woman who specialized in predator and prey relationships. "Welcome to our research center," Dr. Min said with a warm smile. We understand you have questions about Earth's biological development. Commander Gesh looked around nervously. Even here, in what should have been a safe academic building, her scanners were detecting potential threats. Dr. Min, she said, are there dangerous creatures even inside this building? Define dangerous, Dr. Choi said with a small laugh. There are probably insects, spiders, and maybe a few mice in the walls, but nothing that would hurt a human. Dr. Vex checked her scanner readings. My equipment detects over 30 different life forms within 50 meters. That sounds about right for a building this old, Dr. Min agreed. Earth is absolutely full of life. It's impossible to avoid other species completely, so we've learned to live alongside them. They entered a large lecture hall where Dr. Min had prepared a presentation about Earth's history. The walls were covered with images of creatures from different time periods. To understand humans, Dr. Min began, you must understand our planet's history. Earth has experienced 5 major extinction events over the past 500 million years. The first hologram showed the extinction of the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. Each time life on Earth was nearly wiped out, the survivors became tougher and more adaptable. Earth's current ecosystem is the result of billions of years of survival training. Dr. Vex stared at the images of massive predatory dinosaurs. These creatures were larger than anything in the current galaxy. Much larger, Dr. Choi confirmed. Tyrannosaurus rex was 12 meters long and weighed 8,000 kilograms. Its bite force was 57,000 newtons. For comparison, a great white shark's bite force is only 18,000 newtons. Commander Gesh's armor was automatically adjusting its threat assessment systems, but the numbers were too high for it to process. How did any life survive such monsters? She asked. By becoming smarter, faster, and more cooperative, Dr. Min replied. The mammals that survived the dinosaur extinction were small, clever, and worked together in groups. The hologram changed to show early human ancestors. Modern humans evolved during Earth's most recent ice age, about 300,000 years ago. This was one of the most competitive periods in our planet's history. The new images showed massive woolly mammoths, cave bears, and saber-toothed cats. These were the creatures that early humans had to compete with for food and shelter, Dr. Choi explained. Woolly mammoths weighed 6,000 kilograms. Cave bears were larger and stronger than modern grizzly bears. Saber-toothed cats had 18-centimeter fangs. Dr. Vex was making rapid calculations on her scanner. Your ancestors were competing with creatures that outweighed them by 50 to 1? At least, Dr. Min said. Early humans weighed maybe 60 kilograms on average. We had no natural weapons like claws or fangs. We weren't particularly fast or strong compared to other predators. Then how did you survive? Commander Gesh asked. Dr. Choi smiled. We were smarter, and more importantly, we were better at working together than any other species. She activated a new hologram showing early humans hunting in coordinated groups. Humans developed complex language, advanced tool use, and sophisticated social cooperation. We could plan hunts that lasted for days. We could share information across vast distances. We could coordinate attacks with dozens of individuals. The hologram showed human hunters driving a mammoth toward a cliff where other humans waited with spears. We didn't just survive these mega predators, Dr. Min said quietly. We hunted them to extinction. The room became very quiet. You killed the saber-toothed cats? Dr. Vex whispered. We killed almost all the megafauna, Dr. Choi confirmed. Woolly mammoths, cave bears, giant ground sloths, short-faced bears. Within a few thousand years of human expansion, most of the giant predators were extinct. Commander Gesh sat down heavily. Your species eliminated the apex predators of your world? We became the apex predators, Dr. Min corrected. Humans are the most successful hunters in Earth's history. No other species has ever dominated the planet so completely. Dr. Vex was staring at her scanner in disbelief. But the current predators on Earth, great white sharks, grizzly bears, lions, These are still extremely dangerous creatures. Those are the small ones, Dr. Choi said. The ones we decided to let live. Modern predators are tiny compared to what early humans faced. She showed a size comparison between a saber-toothed cat and a modern lion. The ancient predator was twice as large. Wait, Commander Gesh said slowly. You chose to let them live? Once we developed agriculture and didn't need to hunt large animals for survival, humans started feeling guilty about all the extinctions we had caused, Dr. Min explained. We began creating protected areas where the remaining predators could live safely. You feel remorse for successful hunting? Dr. Vex asked, confused. Humans are complicated, Dr. Choi admitted. We're capable of destroying entire species, but we also feel emotional attachment to other life forms. We want to protect the creatures we used to hunt. Dr. Min activated another hologram. This one showed modern wildlife conservation efforts. Today, humans spend billions of dollars protecting endangered species. We have laws against hunting certain animals. We create national parks where predators can live without human interference. You protect the creatures that used to compete with you? Commander Gesh asked. We protect them because they used to compete with us, Dr. Min said. Those predators made us what we are. Without that competition, humans would never have developed our intelligence and cooperation. Dr. Vex was trying to process this information. Your species preserves danger because danger made you strong? Exactly, Dr. Choi said. A world without challenges would make us weak and lazy. We need the predators to remind us who we are. She showed images of modern humans working as wildlife researchers, getting close to dangerous animals to study and protect them. These scientists spend their careers studying creatures that could kill them, she explained. They do it because they love and respect those animals. Love, Commander Gesh repeated. You feel affection for predators? Many humans do, Dr. Min confirmed. We admire their strength, beauty, and hunting skills. We see them as magnificent, examples of what evolution can create. The hologram changed to show children visiting zoos and aquariums, watching sharks and big cats with wonder instead of fear. Human children are taught to appreciate predators, not just fear them, Dr. Choi said. We want our young to understand and respect the natural world. Dr. Vex looked up from her notes. This explains so much about human behavior. You don't see other species as threats because you know you're the ultimate threat. That's part of it, Dr. Min agreed. But it's more than that. Humans succeeded because we learned to cooperate with other species, not just dominate them. He showed images of humans working with dolphins, horses, dogs, and even trained birds of prey. Cooperation is our greatest strength, he continued. We make alliances with other species. We form partnerships that benefit everyone involved. Commander Gesh stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the massive city of Seoul, where millions of humans lived together in relative peace. On my world, she said quietly, different groups of my species still fight over territory and resources. But humans have created cities with millions of individuals living together. 8 million people live in Seoul, Dr. Choi confirmed. And that's just one of hundreds of major human cities. Humans are incredibly good at large-scale cooperation. How? Do you manage conflicts between so many individuals? Dr. Vex asked. Laws, customs, education, and shared goals, Dr. Min replied. Human societies aren't perfect, but we've learned to resolve most conflicts without violence. Commander Gesh turned back to face them. Your species has accomplished something that no other known species has managed. What's that? Dr. Choi asked. You've created a technological civilization while maintaining your biological heritage. Most species either remain primitive or lose their connection to nature when they develop technology. Humans have done both. Dr. Min smiled. We couldn't abandon our connection to nature even if we wanted to. It's too much a part of who we are. He activated one final hologram. This one showed the Earth from space, blue and green and beautiful. This is what we're protecting, he said. Not just our own species, but the entire web of life that created us. We know that we're only as strong as the ecosystem that supports us. Dr. Vex closed her scanner and put it away. I think I finally understand, she said. Humans aren't fearless. You're the opposite of fearless. What do you mean? Commander Gesh asked. You're so aware of real dangers that you can distinguish between actual threats and imaginary ones. You know which risks are worth taking and which ones aren't. Dr. Choi nodded. That's a good way to put it. We're not brave because we don't feel fear. We're brave because we understand what's actually worth being afraid of. Outside the window, Seoul continued its daily life. Millions of humans went about their business, sharing their planet with countless other species, just as they had for thousands of years. We need to completely rewrite our understanding of survival and intelligence, Commander Gesh said finally. And cooperation, Dr. Vex added. If humans can teach other species to work together the way they do... She trailed off, imagining the possibilities. Dr. Min and Dr. Choi exchanged smiles. They had spent their careers studying life, but they had never imagined sharing their knowledge with beings from other worlds. It was, they thought, exactly the kind of cooperation that made humans who they were. 6 months after the alien assessment team returned from Earth, everything at Galactic Academy had changed. The changes started small but grew quickly, like ripples spreading across a pond. Professor Kale stood in front of his xenobiology class, but the room looked completely different now. Instead of just alien students, half the seats were filled with humans. The holographic display showed Earth's complex ecosystem in all its dangerous beauty. In the front row sat Do-hyun Kim, who was now working as a teaching assistant. Behind him were new human exchange students, Ji-won Park, who studied animal behavior, Hyun-woo Lee, who specialized in plant biology, and Bora Kim, who was an expert in ocean life. The alien students still looked nervous when they studied Earth's creatures, but they were no longer terrified. They had learned that understanding was better than fear. Today we continue our study of the most remarkable species ever discovered by the Galactic Council, Professor Kale announced to his mixed species class. The hologram showed images of humans throughout history. Early cave painters, farmers, explorers, scientists, and astronauts. Humans evolved on what we now classify as a class thoth death world, Professor Kale continued. But they did not just survive this hostile environment. They learned to thrive in partnership with the very creatures that threatened them. A Cytherian. Student named Vorth raised his hand. He was the same student who had been terrified during that first class months ago. Now he looked curious instead of scared. Professor Kyle, how did humans develop such advanced cooperation abilities? Do-hyun stood up to answer. Over the months, he had become comfortable speaking to mixed groups of alien students. Cooperation was necessary for survival, he explained. Early humans were not the strongest or fastest creatures on Earth. We had to work together to compete with larger predators. The hologram changed to show early humans hunting in coordinated groups. But cooperation became more than just a survival tool, Do-hyun continued. Humans discovered that working together made life better for everyone. We shared food, knowledge, and protection. Bora Kim raised her hand. May I add something, Do-hyun? Of course. Bora stood and activated her own presentation device. The hologram now showed modern human cities. Human cooperation evolved beyond just survival, she said. We began cooperating for art, music, science, and exploration. We worked together not just to stay alive, but to make life beautiful and meaningful. A Zelkran student named Blix made a whistling sound of interest. You cooperate for pleasure, not just necessity? Yes, Hyun-woo Lee said, joining the discussion. Humans create music together, build art together, explore space together. Cooperation became part of our culture, not just our biology. The alien Students were taking notes eagerly. This was completely different from how their own species had evolved. Professor Kale activated a new hologram showing the current state of Earth. Cities, farms, and wilderness areas existed side by side. Perhaps most remarkably, Professor Kale said, after becoming the dominant species on their planet, humans chose to preserve the dangerous creatures that had shaped their evolution. A new student, a gas form being named Kex, spoke in a bubbling voice. "Professor, why did humans not simply eliminate all threats to make their world safer?" Jiwon Park stood to answer this question. "Because we learned that challenges make us stronger. A world without any danger would make humans weak and lazy." She showed images of human children learning about wildlife in schools and nature centers. "We teach our young to respect predators, not eliminate them. We want future generations to understand where we came from and what made us who we are." The hologram changed to show wildlife conservation efforts around the world. Humans spend enormous amounts of time and money protecting the very creatures that used to hunt us, Ji-won continued. "We create safe spaces for predators to live without human interference." A crystalline student named Crix flashed colors of confusion. "You preserve danger on purpose?" "We preserve the natural balance that created us," Do-yun explained. "Humans understand that we are part of a larger ecosystem. If we destroy that ecosystem, we destroy ourselves." Professor Kale nodded approvingly. "This is why the Galactic Council established the Human Studies program. Understanding human cooperation may be the key to solving conflicts throughout the galaxy." The hologram changed to show recent developments at Galactic Academy. Human and alien students were working together on research projects, sharing meals in the cafeteria, and playing sports together. "Since humans joined our academy," Professor Kale said, "we have seen remarkable changes in how different species interact with each other." Blix, the Zelkran student, whistled in agreement. "Before humans arrived, most species kept to themselves. Now, we have mixed study groups and friendship pairs across species lines. Humans taught us that differences can be strengths instead of threats," added Vorth the Catherian. "My human lab partner Ji-won helped me understand concepts that I struggled with for years." Ji-won smiled at her alien friend. "And Vorth taught me about underwater ecosystems that humans never imagined. We both learned more by working together." A new voice spoke from the back of the classroom. It was Commander Hana Gesh, who had requested permission to observe the class. "May I share something with the students, Professor Kale?" "Certainly, Commander." Commander Gesh walked to the front of the room. Her military bearing was still impressive, but she looked much more relaxed than she had during her first encounter with humans. 6 months ago, I believed humans were the most dangerous species in the galaxy," she said. "I was terrified of them." The alien students listened carefully. Commander Gesh was famous throughout the galaxy as a military leader. "I was right that humans are dangerous," she continued. "But I was wrong about what that meant. Humans are dangerous to enemies and protectors to friends." She gestured toward the human students. "These individuals taught me that strength and kindness can exist together, that intelligence and compassion are not opposites." Yunwoo Lee raised his hand. "Commander, what changed your mind about humans?" "Watching human children play with predators," Commander Gesh replied immediately. "On my world, we protect our young by hiding them from all danger. Humans protect their young by teaching them to understand danger." She paused and looked around the room. "Human children are braver and more capable than adult warriors from most species, not because they feel no fear, but because they have been taught to think clearly when they are afraid." Bora Kim spoke up. "Fear is information, not instruction. Our parents taught us to listen to fear, but not be controlled by it." "Exactly," Commander Gesh said. "This is why human soldiers are so effective. They can function in dangerous situations that would paralyze other species." Professor Kyle activated a new hologram. This one showed recent military cooperation between human and alien forces. Human tactical advisors are now working with defense forces throughout the galaxy, he explained. Not to make war, but to prevent it. Human negotiation and cooperation skills have resolved conflicts that seemed impossible to solve. A student named Zeph, who belonged to a species that looked like walking crystals, flashed questions in light. Patterns. How do humans remain calm during conflicts? Do-hyun answered thoughtfully. We remember that most conflicts come from misunderstanding, not real threats. When you have lived with actual predators, you learn to tell the difference between something that wants to hurt you and something that is just scared or confused. Most alien species that seem aggressive are actually defensive, Jiwon added. They are protecting their territory or their young. Humans understand this because we have learned to read the behavior of many different species. The hologram changed to show diplomatic meetings between different alien species, with human mediators, helping them communicate. Humans serve as translators not just for languages but for intentions, Professor Kale explained. They help species understand each other's motivations. Commander Gesh nodded. The Catherian-Zelkran border dispute that had lasted for 200 years was resolved in 6 weeks once human mediators got involved. How? Asked Vorth, whose people had been part of that conflict. The humans realized that both species were afraid of the same thing, Commander Gesh replied. You were both worried about protecting your young from what you thought were threats from other side. Once you understood that you had the same goals, cooperation became possible. Blix whistled in amazement. Humans helped us see that we were fighting allies, not enemies. Professor Kale looked around the classroom at the mixed group of students from dozens of different worlds. 6 months ago, this would have been impossible. Different species simply did not mix. Students, he said, you are participating in the most important experiment in galactic history. You are proving that cooperation across species lines is not just possible, but beneficial. The hologram changed to show the Academy's latest research projects. Human and alien students were working together to solve problems that neither group could handle alone. Our joint research teams have made discoveries that no single species could achieve, Professor Kale continued. Human creativity combined with alien specializations has led to breakthroughs in medicine, technology, and space exploration. Hyunwoo Lee raised his hand. Professor, what does the future hold for interspecies cooperation? Pro.